stations.
Oh, yeah.
It's time for Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here is your host, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
As I was walking down the street one day, a man came up to me and asked me what the time was.
Welcome in another beautiful day. Yeah, it's chilly, but it's sunshiny. Sunshine everywhere, because tonight the play-in begins. I'm looking forward to that. I hope you all are. That's the way it all begins, the March Madness. It begins with the play-in. Even the women are doing a play-in now. Did you see that? Yeah, on the women's side. Tonight, which is the games tonight? Is it Texas Southern and Fairleigh Dickinson, then Arizona State and Nevada, or is it A&M Corpus Christi SEMO, followed by Mississippi State and Pittsburgh?
Yeah, tonight is SEMO and Corpus Christi and Pittsburgh and Mississippi State.
That's cool. That's cool. State and Pitt, that's a toss-up. That's a great game. And then got to be for SEMO, right? It's just up the road. Covered them for a couple of years. Of course, they were Division II when I covered them, and they were the Indians, which is no longer acceptable. I don't even know, what are they called now? I can't even think of it.
I actually don't know either. Let's look it up.
Like the Red Hawks, I think, something like that.
That sounds right.
Is that it? You're so quick with this.
They are the...
No, not so quick today.
I'm not so quick with it. They're in Cape Girardeau. See,
Yeah.
The problem is all these things. Yes, they're the Red Hawks. That's
Okay.
correct.
So we got that part. All right. Jaws everywhere. So last night during the game, we'll get into that in a second. Last night during the game, Woj reported that Ja is in counseling, in a rehab counseling place in Florida. Now, The Athletic came out with a story this morning that says he's been there for a week. So, I know has watched some games because he's texted and talked with teammates in the stretch. They're, by the way, 2-2 without him after last night's win, back-to-back wins against the Dallas Mavericks, who have not played Luka or Kyrie in those two games. Lucky for Memphis, that's for sure. But then this morning I wake up and I've gotten, I don't know how many images of a Twitter that is a fake account, right? This is why you can't trust.
That's correct.
You cannot trust Twitter because it says shams, right? So everybody, because if there's a story in the NBA, almost 100% of the time, it's either Woj or shams, right?
That's right. Those are the two guys.
And I wonder if they like each other at all. I'll bet you
Woj
there's
hates everybody.
blood.
Woj hates everybody.
Yeah.
He's the most vindictive of all those reporters. Of the football ones, basketball, he is the baseball. He's the one that...
He's the guy?
He hates everybody. He's ruined careers, allegedly.
Shams gets his fair share.
He does quite a bit.
But this was a fake sham, right? Because it said the Grizzlies have waived Ja Morant. Now, anybody in their right mind that sees that goes, that's ridiculous, that's stupid. Who would believe it? There were a bunch of people who actually bought that. Why would you do that?
Those accounts pride themselves
Especially
on
if
getting people to believe it.
All right, but if you've listened to Taylor Jenkins or any of the players about how they got his back, how they're supportive, how he's doing the right thing now, there's just no way. Plus which, the Grizzlies have been over backwards this whole time because they want to re-sign him. Now, here is an interesting issue with Ja. You know, they basketball secondary, you got to get better, right? But if Ja is on the All-NBA team, which is there 3 teams of that's like 15 guys, right?
Correct.
So if he's in that upper 15, it means an additional $40 million over the life of a contract. That's $8 million a year. That's nothing to sneeze at, $8 million a year. If you're a voter, and who votes on that? Is that coaches? Is that media? Is it a combination of the two? I know it's not fans. Whoever votes on that, would they say, Ja hasn't played in enough games? He wasn't there to keep them in position to get the number 2 seed or 3 seed or 4 seed and not vote him in. So does he come back so that he plays enough games that he stays in that top 15 to get the $40 million? I mean, that's, hate to say it, we I don't know what his issues are. It's enough where the league and the team felt he needed to go. And in that athletic story, the team actually sent one of their security people to make sure he got there. So, and I don't know what the issue is. It would be hard for me to believe. And I'm not a doctor. I'm not a psychologist or psychiatrist. But I can't believe you could have a terrible drinking problem and go out and play basketball and be in the physical shape that he's in. Because there is a physical aspect to alcoholism. So how in the world could you be in the elite shape he is? The guy can play 40 minutes at an unbelievably quick pace. His muscles, his twitches, they're unreal. I can't believe you could do that if you had a drinking problem. Not a doctor, not a psychiatrist, don't know the clinical aspect of it all, but it would be hard for me to believe that you could be a bad alcoholic and play at that level. Is that far-fetched?
No. Well, I don't think it is based on kind of the definition that you're conjuring up in your head, and I see what you're saying for sure, but I guess there's levels to it too. It might not be physically debilitating, but anything that is detrimental to your job, whether that just be showing the gun in a video, they might deem that to be, this has reached a point of a problem. You know what I mean? So I guess it could be different degrees for different people in that regard.
He himself said he's got to figure out new ways to deal with the stress. Like up to now, we've seen this kid who's so gifted, who comes through every time, who holds his daughter during interviews. What we've seen is not a guy stressed out.
Right.
Apparently, there is a level of stress on him. Like maybe it is to make those 15, that top 15 to get that deal. Maybe it is to do the commercials that you got to do for Nike and the responsibility that comes with that. And now you got Powerade and all that's coming on you and it's coming at a quick thing and you're a little unsure of what you do next. Maybe I could buy that part. They have never clarified what the issues are that he's dealing with.
We don't know.
We may never know. And maybe that's none of our business. It's just that he needs it. And that's why he's not here. I've got a feeling he'll probably be more forthcoming when he comes back because those questions are going to be asked. And that's another reason why I think you want him to come back before the regular season is over. There's no basically, the guy has not practiced. He's been away from the team for
5 games now.
It's 4 games now, right? Isn't it?
I think last night was the 5th one.
I think they're 2-2 is what I saw.
I could be wrong.
They got Miami, but I think you're right because the Miami game was supposed to be the 6th game. So maybe they're 2-3. I think they're 2-3. I think the story I read was wrong. 2-3 because they lost 3 games on that road. Well, wait a second. That Denver.
No,
he played in that game.
They're 3-2. For the first game he was out.
First game was after the Denver game.
Yeah, so at the Clippers they lost, at the Lakers they lost, and they've won the Warriors and both the Mavs. So they're 3-2.
Okay, so they're 3-2. Okay. I don't see how the Miami game is tomorrow, right?
That's correct.
The guy's still in Florida. He hasn't been with the team, hasn't practiced with the team. I would find it hard to believe he's coming back after 6 games. So
I agree.
The Grizzlies have 14 games to go. Let's just say he misses another 4 games. I think those 10 games are critical for him. 1, to get all of the media stuff that he's got to do out of the way. Get that done. You're a new guy. Here's what I learned. Here's what was bothering me. Now I'm ready to go. You're never going to see me do anything like that again. And stay off of Twitter. Stay off of TikTok. Instagram. Stay off of those.
All of them.
And then play really well in those 10 games. Hold on to home court. If you could hold on to 2, fantastic. And you'd be the reason why. And then you get your top 15, and then you get your $40 million, and you redo the deal, and everybody's happy, and all this goes away.
The voting for All NBA is a global panel of sports writers and broadcasters. So if Ja goes through some sort of rehabilitation for an undisclosed something,
right,
and then comes back and is dominant and leads his team going into the playoffs and scoring a huge number of points, that's a story that I think a panel of sports writers and broadcasters would get behind for an All NBA team.
I would think that. There's probably a couple that are going to go morally. What he did in Denver was just terrible. Why would I vote for this guy? There's other guys that work harder or whatever. I don't know.
And there's only so many guard positions too.
And let's just say this: are we going to see any new photos? Like the photos that came out a couple of days ago with the stripper and $50,000 cash on the floor. That didn't look good. And who knows if there's any more of those? I hope not. I don't think there are. But I didn't think there was that one, right? The NBA is still investigating, too. That's another reason why. This thing is being choreographed with the league. It's not just the Grizzlies that are doing this. So I don't think he's coming back. I hope he comes back with 10 games to go to reintroduce his presence to his team, to get all of the media stuff out of the way and get down to business. And keep his $40 million extra dollars. That's what I hope. Because it'd be easy for a writer to go or a broadcaster to go, he didn't play enough games. He didn't help his team if he doesn't come back to the playoffs. And, it could be, too, and we, again, don't know the real mental status and the reasons for all of this with Ja. But it could be that Ja would go, wait, I'm not coming back because I really need to get whatever it is, my demons, out. I got to get them out of my system. And so the $40 million, I don't really care about because I'll make it up with Nike. I'll make it up with Powerade. I'll make it up with the next thing if I rehab myself and get my image back the way it was. So I don't know what the answer is, but I think the best one is not to miss too many more games. If you can get the last 10 in, if you can hold on to that 2 seed, certainly not be on the 4 seed, I don't know how they can vote you out of that $40 million bonus. I just don't. Now, if it's the top 5, you got a problem. If it's top 15, I don't see a problem.
Yeah, but you also got to consider that there are only certain positions for guards on those teams.
Well, there's 6
too.
of them.
Yeah. And so that's what? So 9?
Are you telling me he's not in the top 6? Come on. Of guards?
I mean, it's not that I don't think he's in the top 6, but I think when a guy's out close to the end of the year, closer to voting time, I could see votes going for other guys too.
I'm just going to say this: it could be more because you could play LeBron at a 3 if you're going to place him.
I think I'm not sure how they determine who's what position.
But what? So let's just say Steph Curry.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just say LeBron. Kyrie Irving, really? I don't think he's better than Ja.
Yeah, this year I would say Lillard's probably on the list with scoring 70 a couple times.
I'll give you Lillard. I'll give you Lillard. That's it. Not Harden.
I think Shai Gilgeous could make it.
No, he's not better than Ja.
Well, but it's
he's
the
a great
season.
Player.
It's the season,
But we're talking. There's 6 of them.
Donovan Mitchell scored 70 a couple times.
You're not getting past 6. There's no way you're not going to get me past 6. And if you do, I'm going to move LeBron to a 3.
What about De'Aaron Fox if the Kings end up having a better record than the Grizzlies?
He could get in there. That's 4. It's 4 or 5.
Yeah, he'll be right on the precipice. Jalen Brunson's been leading the Knicks to a really good year.
No, he's not. Jalen Brunson is not going to get better numbers than Ja. He's not better than Ja.
Points per game, you're right. If they just go by strictly, obviously they do a ton of things here, but if they go by strictly points per game,
you go points per game, you go assists,
the top.
and think of it this way: Jalen Brunson probably gets a lot more shots because he doesn't have Triple J. He doesn't have Desmond Bain. He doesn't even have Santi Aldama.
He's got Julius Randle, though.
He
takes a lot
does.
of
He's
shots.
got one guy. There's more guys on the Grizz that he's got to get the ball to. And he does. Despite Charles Barkley saying
he doesn't
make his teammates any better. Last night, I'm telling you, first of all, Bain is great. I was listening to Greg and Eli, and they were debating who is the second best player on this team. Is it Bain or is it Triple J? I guess if you take everything into account, because Triple J is a rim protector. Triple J rebounds better. But if you're looking for a bucket, the second best player on the team is Bain. Overall, the second best player is Triple J. But if I need a bucket, Bain's my guy, because Bain is a great outside shooter. Let's face it, that's how he began, as a catch-and-shoot guy who's upped his game, and now he is a threat at all levels. And he can handle the ball. He's now the second point guard on the team after Tyus Jones. He's a valuable guy. And those three, they got to stay together. That's the key.
I'll agree with what you're saying about Bain when you need a bucket. I'll go all around. I would take Bain over Jaren, certainly.
All around.
I think
so.
He's
You think he's the second best player?
I do. Now I can't.
I go 2A, 2B. I guess.
Yeah, and you can't take away what Jaren does on. 3 blocks a game right now. He's like you said, an excellent rim protector, and that's super vital to the team. But you could plug Bain into any team in the league, and he would make a difference right away.
Where couldn't you plug Jaren Jackson Jr. into?
Well, I think because the Grizzlies' defensive scheme is built around him guarding a weaker offensive player in order to protect the rim, I think it's more difficult. There has to be, like, Steven Adams being out has really affected Jaren's defense in a significant way, so it has to be a team that has that.
I would agree with that, but I'm not sure there's not a 4 in the league. Now, 5s are different. I'm not sure there's not a 4 in the league Jaren Jackson Jr. can't stay in front of.
But he doesn't, though. They don't guard him with those guys. And it's not his fault. The coach tells him who to guard, and he guards who he's told to guard. It's not on him. But like Dylan Brooks or Steven Adams guarded Giannis, Dylan Brooks guarded LeBron, and Pascal Siakam, another 4 in the league. But again, I can't hold that against Jaren. He's doing what the coaches are asking him to do.
But LeBron also plays more perimeter. That's why it makes more sense for Dylan Brooks to be on him. All right. Anyway, last night, not just Bain, who led the team in scoring, and by the way, had 7 assists, 8 rebounds in the game. I mean, he was the star of the game. The second star, though, Triple J had a bad night. He was like, 1 for 7 or something like that? He was not very good offensively. Did, I think, have 3 blocks in the game. But it was Roddy again. Roddy, 19, 5 rebounds, big threes. He had 3 threes. It seemed like everyone was significant for them to build their lead. They had a good fourth quarter, a great third quarter, as always. This time a good fourth quarter, and they win. Now, they beat a Dallas team that had no Luka and no Kyrie. So they made this move to play these two guys together, thinking, okay, and wow.
Yeah, I think they really needed these last 2,
specifically
for the division.
This is the way the NBA works. Now we got a new star because somebody's got to score, right? Hardy is the new guy. He had 28 last night.
He's been so good this year, even off the bench, just getting to the rim. I loved Hardy. I love Josh Green, too. Those guys are great additions to this team. Unfortunately, what they need is a post player because Maxi Cleve is the only player on the team that can guard anybody inside the perimeter. They need a post player more.
They have terrible defense. And when Kyrie and Luka are out there, I mean, you think the defense is going to be any better? I don't. I think their offense will be better. Last night, I could not believe how many threes they settled for.
A lot.
They took 46 threes.
Didn't make very
They made
many
12 of them. That's
right.
26%. They shot under 40. They were 39% from the field. You're not going to win an NBA game shooting 39%. These are pros.
Not at all. You're right.
So the Grizzlies are now 41-26. Kings, by the way, lost at Milwaukee. Did you see there was a little Brooks Lopez? Who's the other? Who did he get into it with?
Trey Lyles.
Trey Lyles, yeah. They were mad because they thought the way – this is stupid, by the way. They thought the way that Giannis was dribbling the ball to end the game. They thought it was disrespectful the way he was dribbling.
Yeah, that's what they said.
Well, he had a 40-point night again. They should have stopped him there.
That's right.
That would have been better. So they get mad that he's dribbling a certain way, and Lyles pushes him. Oh, you're not pushing the man. So his defender is Lopez, who comes, and they get into it. And if I'm Giannis, I love Brooks Lopez for that. But anyway.
Both ejected.
Bucks, both ejected. Does that mean they can't play them next game?
Isn't that what a one-game suspension usually?
I think it is. Right? I think it is. Anyway, Kings lose. So the Grizz are now a game ahead of them, 4.5 ahead of Phoenix, 6 ahead of Golden State, which is the 5th spot, right? So you'd keep 4 no matter what, with only 14 games to go. They're going to keep home court. That's for sure. It'll be fun to see if they can hold on to number 2. All right, real quick, let's just talk. We're going to make picks with the bracket tomorrow, but everybody's interested, obviously, in the Tigers and FAU Friday night, 8:20, late game. And you know it never starts at 8:20, just so you know. 8:30, 8:40, that would be my prediction on that. In just going over these numbers, FAU's 31-3. They score 79 points a game. They give up 65. Their margin there is one of the best in the country, and obviously 31-3 is one of the best. The best, and I haven't talked to any coaches yet. I just look at numbers, right? The best that I can tell from what I have seen just by the numbers is that they shoot the ball from 3 almost 45% of their attempts. That's a lot, folks. They are going to spread the floor. They have 5 guys who have over 40 threes made. They have 2 guys with close to 60 threes made. And they have another 2 in the 30s. So all told, they have 7 guys who can shoot threes. It appears to me, and they're a good rebounding team, that they are very similar to the way UCF plays. And Memphis took 2 out of 3 from UCF, but all those games were really close, including the one in the tournament. It was the closest game Memphis had. Memphis should have won all 3 games with UCF, to be honest, but because of the 3, you're never out of a game. And if they've got a guy like that CJ Kelly was, who beat the heck out of Memphis every game, then you got to be careful. And they do. They have, a guy who hits big from the outside. They got a 7-footer in the middle. That's why they rebound so well. This one is not easy. This is why the Tigers are only 2.5-point favorites. This is why some people think FAU is going to beat them. Others, though, I see, have Memphis going to the Final Four, beating Purdue. And if you get past FAU, I like that Purdue matchup because Purdue does have Edey. There's no answer for him, but they're not good handling pressure, and I don't think they have Memphis' speed. But we can't get ahead of ourselves. And we're going to talk about that with our friend, the Hall of Famer from the Sporting News, Mike DeCourcy, in just a minute. We got baseball with Tim Doolin in our last segment, the World Baseball Classic going on. We'll talk with Timmy about that. We are totally underway in the Family Leisure Studios, where the preseason patio and pool sale continues. Buy now, save big with the area's largest selection of patio furniture, and get your early bird pricing on those pools. And this portion of the show is brought to you by Conway, home of the $69 tune-up, 384-3511. Here's the thing about that 16-point Energy Saver Super Tune-up. Get ahead of everybody, because once spring really hits, everybody wants it done. Get it done now and start saving, because your system becomes more efficient, and the odds of a breakdown when it gets really hot go way down. So, 384-3511, or go to conwayservices.com for details. Our title sponsor, well, you know who that is. That's Homer. Homer Skelton Hyundai in Olive Branch, where right now, go in there, get a G70, Genesis Luxury, and if you agree to finance with Genesis, they give you $1,000. Basically, Homer's saying, we're giving you $1,000 to do business with us, and we'll give you this G70 opportunity, which is a rocket ship. I mean, this is a great comfort with luxury, a great car with luxury comfort. You can't beat it. You can't beat Homer Skelton Hyundai. Back with our friend Mike DeCourcy in just a minute.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Simple, smooth, and every sip as easy as the last. Tito's handmade vodka tastes just as good with tap water as it does with your favorite mixer. Back in the day, Tito distilled, hand bottled, taste tested, sent to a few friends, then taste tested again to give you the finest juice around. No frills, no flavors, no fancy labels, just the good stuff. Just Tito's. For recipes, videos, and more, visit Tito'sVodka.com.
Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas, 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof, crafted to be savored responsibly.
Hi, everyone. Greg Aston for FanDuel. Add a little excitement to your sports watching experience by betting on all the action on FanDuel Sportsbook. There's a reason why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Their app is simple to use. They've got great odds on all different betting markets, unique fun bet types like same-game parlay, and exclusive always-on promotions such as enhanced odds boosts on the biggest events to let you get more action out of every game day. And if you win, they even get you your winnings safely in as little as 24 hours. If you've never tried FanDuel Sportsbook, what are you waiting for? Just go to FanDuel.com, use Gas Manager promo code to get in on the action. All in an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Just go to FanDuel.com, again, use Gas Manager promo code to join now or sign into your FanDuel Sportsbook account. Must be 21 or over, present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. $10 deposit is required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call Tennessee Redline at 1-800-889-9789.
All 650 acquisition fee, 30,000 miles, 20 cents excess mileage. Sold P7866988, MSRP 22,945. K5 PG200 400, MSRP 26,455. Sportage PG 107,225, MSRP 29,790. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance 200. Excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 3/31/2023. Dealer stock only. Warranties and limited powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details.
Hey, Jeff Allen, you ready to give Memphis your best deals at Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah?
That's what I always do, Randy. How about a 2023 Kia Soul LX, only $333 a month and $27.99 due at signing. Looking for luxury? 2023 Kia K5 LXS, $362 a month or $31.99 due at signing. Both 36-month lease.
Or how about the 2023 Kia Sportage LX all-wheel drive?
We got it at $381 per month, 36-month lease, and $34.99 due at signing.
And don't forget Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. And Jeff, what if I don't see exactly what I want?
I'll order it for you, Randy, so whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah.
Online, KiaMountMoriah.com.
Listen Sundays at 11 a.m. to join Idlewild Presbyterian Church for worship. Idlewild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
It's always a treat to talk to the Hall of Famer Mike DeCourcy from the Sporting News, and this is about as busy as he will get as we get into the tournament. Joining us now are you still in Indy, or have you moved anywhere? Like, are you?
No, I'm in Indy right now. Yes, for my one day of the week that I'm home.
No yes, Dayton for you. You're going to miss Mississippi State and Pittsburgh tonight.
I am going to miss that. Otherwise, I might miss my beautiful wife for the rest of my life if I tried to pull that off.
Yeah. I'm curious. Do you think the committee got this right? Are there some bad decisions made here, or do you like the way they did it?
Yeah, I think this is one of the poorer recent committee decisions or groups of decisions. Performances, I guess, is the word I'm looking for. It starts with leaving Rutgers out of the field, which was an egregiously bad decision based on the fact that that Rutgers performed at a lower level after they had a regular get injured, a young man named Mawat Mag, who kind of a glue guy kind of thing. And so they really struggled in February after he got hurt and lost for the year. And if they had come to Chicago in the Big Ten tournament and performed at a similar level, I would have endorsed them leaving, and I don't think even Rutgers would have complained. I think they would have understood, but they came to Chicago with a quarterfinal game, I think it was, or a second-round game against Michigan, which was a very capable team and fighting for its spot in the field. And Rutgers absolutely handled them. I mean, it was not a close game. It was all Rutgers. It wasn't a blowout, but it was a decisive victory. And that was not a one-off because they came back the next day in the quarterfinals against Purdue, a number one seed in the NCAA tournament, and obviously in the Big Ten as well, and played them to a 5-point game. And it wasn't like, oh, we were getting our tails kicked and then we rallied at the end. It was 5 points. That was the game. It was right around that level the whole way. So they had righted themselves. They had shown that they had, with a little bit of time to breathe, they worked on some things and they became a capable team again. The committee did not punish any other team for player injuries relative to their seeds. Tennessee with Zakai Ziegler. Tennessee did not play well without Zakai. And I don't know what their tournament will be now, but they have not played well since he was injured. UCLA is down at least one starter,
right,
and maybe two. And they played their hearts out without Jalen Clark and without Dembona in the championship game, but they didn't hit them. And when I mention all these, I want to point out just the volume of other teams that have been impacted by injuries.
Well, Sasser, we don't know if he'll play.
Sasser, exactly. You were calling the game, Dave. They looked lost. And credit to the Tigers because they're the ones that were out there befuddling them, but they looked lost. And so what my point is that going back to the day in Memphis 23 years ago when we sat there and watched Kenyon Martin got hurt, my position has always been not to punish teams for injuries. I thought that what they did that day, that 3 days, 4 days after that was unfair and unreasonable. But to leave a team completely out for that reason, I think is indefensible. And then there were some minor things like shipping Kansas West. Look, the people bid on these things. Cities bid on these things, and maybe in the hope that that'll be the year they have a great team and it'll be really exciting in their town. And all of a sudden, Kansas has a great team and a better season performance than Houston. I mean, look, you and I know Houston's a really good team,
right?
But they played 6 real games this year: the 3 against the Tigers and the St. Mary's, Virginia, and Alabama games, and they lost 2 of them. I mean, if that's the best you can do, you deserve the number 2 overall seed over a team that played 20-some of those kinds of games and won about at the same clip. I just don't understand that.
Here's the thing, though. I mean, if we're really trying to make this all neutral, I don't think it's fair for Kansas to be able to go to Kansas City in the second round. I mean, Des Moines close enough. Now they got to go to Vegas, which isn't a horrible thing because their fans are going to like going there, and I bet you they get a bunch. But to hold it in Kansas City, it's the same thing. I think it's totally unfair that a 9 seed Auburn is going to be at home in Birmingham to take on Houston if they both win.
If that's the position, I am fully in favor of that. If geography becomes a non-factor, if that becomes the standard, oh my goodness, I'm leading the parade, Dave. I don't want. I hate the way they wrap this up in geography, but this is their standard. That I am complaining about their standard, which is to ascend Houston on the basis basically of a computer rating over a team that played 20-some challenging games and won, like I said, at basically the same rate, give or take a decimal point, basically the same rate of its 20-some difficult games as opposed to Houston, which played 6.
Right. Well, they had, how many? 5 quad 1 wins? 6 quad 1 wins? Something like that?
Some of their quad... Some of the quad 1s are teams that are just okay, not tournament worthy. You play them on the road, et cetera. And Kansas had those too. Kansas had, I believe, they finished with 17.
Yes, they had the most quad 1 wins of everybody. That was the big argument that I saw, and why people like Seth Davis were really ripping the decision to move Houston up to number 2. When Houston was the number 1 net team, they were all going, "What? That's crazy."
Yeah, I think the rankings are what they are, and I think there's a value to them if you're having a difficult decision. But I think it starts and I think it begins with who did you beat, and ends with who did you take any really inexplicable losses, like maybe Temple at home.
Yeah.
I think those. I mean, let's not forget Temple went out in the I think it was the quarters or was it semis? No, quarters of the American tournament and lost by 40 to a Cincinnati team that couldn't stay on the floor with Houston.
No,
so,
you're right. You know why they lost that game? I mean, I can tell you that very simply. Houston lost that game at home to Temple because they were 12 of 21 from the free throw line.
Yeah, but that shouldn't matter. It's Houston. It's Temple and Houston.
Right.
You have I mean, 12 of 21 is what percentage is that? It's about 55 or something.
Yeah, something like that.
I mean, even if you shoot 65, it shouldn't be close. You should be handling Temple at home by a margin of 8 to 10 points at minimum, and instead they lose the game.
I hear that, but here's what bugs me about that. Okay, and this is the Power 5 argument against the Group of 5, and I know Mike Oresco would arrest me for using those G5 P5 deals. But,
does he have the authority?
But if Kansas goes and loses to a middle run West Virginia, okay, at home, oh well, it's the league. When Temple does that and they lose, Houston loses, then it's inexcusable. League games, coaches are good. They understand. And if you have a bad night and they have a great night and crazy things occur, like 12 of 21 free throw shooting, crazy stuff happens. But if you're in the American, you don't get the break.
You just compared Temple. Like if you're comparing Temple to Nebraska and the wins that Nebraska was able to get, I get it. Okay, that's fair. And Nebraska was able to get some wins at home, but they didn't go into Purdue and win. And that would be the functional equivalent. West Virginia's in the tournament, and deservedly so. They beat Pitt by 30-some points. They have multiple wins over tournament teams. So I don't think. And if Houston had taken that Temple loss on the road, I don't even know if I'd be harping on it. It's a road game. That's different. But this is a home game. It just didn't show. And that's, that again, I just don't think that the best team or the second best team in the country, according to the committee, should be taking home losses to a team that's not even in the universe of the tournament.
Which do you think is the toughest of the brackets? Which is the easiest?
Yeah, the easiest is easy to say, and that is definitely the South. It's almost, a lot of people thought that maybe they'd stick it to Alabama a little bit because of no. They threw out the welcome mat, man. Not only sending them to Birmingham, which of course was somewhat inevitable, but Arizona, Creighton, Baylor, Virginia, and San Diego State to a lesser extent, but mostly the bottom teams in the bottom half of the bracket are all capable teams, but have all been less than what they should be. The whole seasons for those teams have been less than what they could be. And that's the kind of teams you want to play in the tournament. Teams that have spent 4 months trying to figure it out and haven't been able to do it. Creighton, I figured out. I was looking at this when I was trying to pick between Creighton and NC State on Sunday night.
Yeah,
I think it's been like a month since Creighton's beaten an NCAA tournament team, and it's been a month since NC State has.
I look at the pieces at Creighton. The big guy.
Yeah.
I look at the guard Nemhard. I look at the shooter. What's his name? Shimerman.
Baylor Shimerman.
I look at the guy who's the slasher.
Kaluma.
And I'm telling you, I think they've underachieved. I watched them in Maui. I'm going, oh my gosh, what a great team.
Yes.
McDermott has not done a great job with this team. I'm sorry.
He has struggled with this group for some reason. And like early in the year, they lost 6 in a row. And during that period, they had the center, his name is Ryan Kalkbrenner. He had undiagnosed mono for 3 games and then was out with mono for 3 games. So they lost all 6. So, okay, fine. You get it back, you get it going, and they've actually been, in some ways, more disappointing in February and early March than they were then because they had the excuse.
Well, with all their pieces, they shouldn't have lost all 6 games without the big guy. I don't think. And
I can get that, but
yeah.
but they've been losing lately with him.
Yeah, I know.
And the Xavier game in the semis of the Big East tournament was an absolute blowout. I mean, it was never competitive.
Right.
So that's the hardest. I mean, that's the easiest and the hardest. I think is the West, which has Kansas,
UCLA.
UCLA, Gonzaga, TCU as a 5. That's a really usually the West is the easiest read because you basically keep farming teams out that are like, oh, they're last in the line. You go out west, and this time it's pretty loaded.
Yeah, the 8-9 game, Arkansas-Illinois is a terrific game.
Yes.
You know, I think that's I concur with that. All right, you got to, before we run out of time, tell me what you think about the East, and let's start with Memphis and Florida Atlantic, because that game, the best that I can tell, and I really haven't talked to coaches yet, but the best that I can tell is this team plays a lot like UCF. 45% of their attempts are from three-point range. They got 7 guys that can hit them.
Yeah, it's a hard game to play, and it's a team that knows how to win. I mean, there was a lot of pressure on them in their championship game against UAB. Andy does a great job. He's got a great player in Jelly Walker.
He beat him.
And they did beat them the one time, and so there's a ton of pressure on them, and it didn't faze them at all. I mean, they totally handled that game, really never competitive. So it'll be a tough game for the Tigers. The Tigers have been through some real challenges lately, and did really well in both of those games. Both of those Houston games didn't pull off the one at the end at home, but then did it really well on Sunday. I will say that if they can. When I say use the word duplicate, it won't be the same because it's a different team. But if they can put that same performance, that level of performance on the floor against FAU, I think they win the game. But, of course, you have to get to that. And I think part of it is just measure the tempo just a little bit. Run when you can, because I know they like to do it, and they do it really well. But make sure that you're taking full advantage of the great ability that Kendrick has, DeAndre's length and his intelligence as a player, his maturity as a player. Make sure you're taking full advantage of those, always getting quality shots. I don't think that FAU beats you if the vast majority of your shots are high-quality shots.
All right, and then let's just say they win.
Yeah.
And now
you got Purdue.
You got Purdue, the weakest of the one. They got the great player in Edey. Everybody says they're not good against pressure. Most people will tell you Memphis is much faster than they are. What do you think if that's the matchup?
Yeah, I think that it starts with how you defend Zach. 7'4", 295 pounds. He's an impossibility. The whole game is not to stop him. If you try to stop him, you're wasting your time, A, and you're missing the game, B, because the key to Purdue is managing him. The fewest touches he can get, the better. The challenge of the attempts that he gets, try to keep him from getting super close to the goal, from getting leverage. But you know that you're going to lose the matchup, and know that he's probably going to flirt with 30 if he gets the ball often enough. But it comes down to how you defend the perimeter. Indiana, in their victories, for the most part, tried to make it hard for Zach, but basically dared Purdue to shoot. They basically said, "Yeah, we don't think you're making enough," and Purdue did not. And that's the challenge. And so Purdue's response to some of their challenges has been to insert a veteran named Brandon Newman in the starting lineup, and it's made them better offensively, but it's still not made them great, other than Zach. So that, to me, is the challenge for the Tigers. Is if they get there, the challenge is managing Edey and making sure that you have the perimeter players for Purdue decide the game. And if Purdue comes out and starts busting threes all over the place, which they have enough guys to do, but they haven't done it in a while, you just look at it and say, hey, it just wasn't our day. Because the Tigers have had, I'm really happy. I was really happy for the Tigers and the fans. Obviously, I have a ton of great friends down there who are big fans. And I was really happy that they got to have Sunday, and happy for Penny and the team that they got to have Sunday and raise that banner and and hold that trophy up and all that. It was a great moment for Tigers basketball. Maybe the first, that first shining moment in a little while.
Sure was. It felt great. And the way they played against Tulane and Houston, especially those two halves against Tulane and the one against Houston, reminded me of 2008 at what was then Reliant, now Energy Stadium, when they blasted Michigan State and Texas. That's the kind of quality basketball we saw. If they can carry that over, it could be fun. Last thing, real quick, where do you have the Tigers go out in your bracket?
Yeah, I have them losing to Purdue. It's a hard game to play, and it's a hard game to manage, but it's not an impossible thing to pull off. The last times that Purdue has played against teams that are tournament quality, they have not played great basketball. They didn't play Illinois. They wrecked for 20 minutes. I mean, just absolutely blew them out of the gym. But Illinois fought back, and it was a one-possession game in the final minute. Rutgers on Friday, as I mentioned. The Indiana game back 10 days ago, 2 weeks ago. So they have not been at the level that they were early in the year when they were playing with great confidence, when their freshman guards were really tearing it up. It's not been that team for a little while. And if you get there by beating FAU, your job is to try to prevent them from turning back the clock, so to speak.
He is the Hall of Famer, Mike DeCourcy. When we talk next time, next Tuesday, it'll be Sweet 16. Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Dave.
That's our man from the Sporting News. He's brought to you by the good folks from Ken Garland. Yeah, big decision you're going to make. Dream home. Maybe renovation. Keep your old home. Get a modern palace. That's what Ken does. That's what his father before him did. We're talking 65, 68 years of Ken Garland. Go to kengarland.com. See what I'm talking about. And you'll like it. And then call, because he's an interesting guy to talk with. He sees little details and the big picture all at once. Perfect to be a home builder. 751-1632. Ken Garland, Custom Home Builders. And this portion of the show also brought to you by the Eflin Insurance Team, the way that Matt and his team, guys like Grant, Andrew, or Heath, what they do is they get to know you. This is called insurance with collaboration. You want a home program, auto, life insurance. They get to know you, know your family, know what's important, know what your budget is. Then they protect you. Same thing with commercial insurance. If you've got a small to mid-sized business, that's where they specialize, where they get to know your product. They get to know your employees. They forecast you out a few years. They know what your budget is. Then they protect you. 901-386-GER, because they're big Tiger fans. 901-386-4777. Eflin Insurance, the collaborative way. Pause for just a second. We're back in a minute. We talk baseball, World Baseball Classic, and a whole lot more with our guy, Tim Doolin, is next.
Be sure to follow us at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows, stay up to date with station events, and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports56 WHBQ.
There's an institution in East Memphis that I love talking about. It's the Spirit Shop at 4848 Poplar Avenue, right down the street from Clark Tower, and it looks like a log cabin. It's been around Memphis since 1969 with a family-owned, friendly, knowledgeable sales staff that is just a wonderful place to go. I love going in and talking wine or bourbons, and they've got such great selection. So if you've not visited the Spirit Shop in a while, it's been remodeled. You'll love what you see when you need spirits. Tell Eddie Wolo said hello.
Do you want to know what's trending now? You can defer payments of a full NetSuite implementation for 6 months. No payments and no interest for 6 months. This is a big deal. NetSuite by Oracle has never made an offer like this in its 22 years as the leading cloud financial system. 33,000 companies have already upgraded to NetSuite, gaining visibility and control over their financials, inventory, HR, e-commerce, and more. Everything they need to reduce manual processes, boost efficiency, build forecasts, and increase productivity across every department. In fact, almost 90% of finance leaders agree that NetSuite helps them reduce manual data entry time. Whether your business generates millions or hundreds of millions of dollars, take advantage of this special financing offer of no payments or interest for 6 months at netsuite.com/play. That's netsuite.com/play. netsuite.com/play.
Los Cabos is famous for their authentic Mexican food, great steak fajitas, enchilada tacos, and unbelievable seafood freshly flown in from crab legs to shrimp, and Los Cabos handcrafted margaritas. Come watch your favorite game. 4 locations to choose from: Quince, Bartlett, Germantown, and Goodman Road. Take advantage of the Los Cabos Daily Happy Hour specials. Monday and Tuesdays, 2-for-1 margaritas on the rocks from 3 to 7 p.m. Tuesday and Wednesday from 3 to 7 p.m., Margaritas Jumbo, $6.99, Flavored Margarita Jumbo, $7.99, and House Wine, $4. Los Cabos Weekend Special is Jumbo Lime Margaritas, $6.99. Come to Los Cabos, best Mexican sports bar in town. Get a Sports 56 beer and lunch special starting at $7. Daily beer specials, all draft beer, 16-ounce, $2.99. Los Cabos, the best Mexican sports bar in town.
Calling all the Mid-South. Bobby J is waiting for your call today to drive off in your new Kia from Gossett Kia on the Pike. 2023 Kia Soul LX $333 a month, $27.99 due at signing. Or 2023 Kia K5 LXS $362 a month, $31.99 due at signing. And 2023 Kia Sportage LX all-wheel drive $381 a month, $34.99 due at signing, all 36-month lease. And if you can't find what you're looking for, let Bobby J order a new ride for you today. Plus, Kia's best-in-class warranty, 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Ask for Bobby J. He'll put you in a new Kia today. Gossett Kia, 1900 Covington Pike. Online, KiaCovingtonPike.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 650 acquisition fee, 30,000 miles, 20 cents excess mileage. Sold P7866 988, MSRP 22,945, K5 PG 200 400, MSRP 26,455, Sportage PG 107,225, MSRP 29,790. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through Hyundai. Excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 3/31/2023. Dealer stock only. Warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
We are so basketball heavy today. I've shortchanged my man, Tim Doolin. I hope he will forgive me. I'll make it up to you down the road, I promise, Tim. But I want to talk World Baseball Classic. Some say this USA team can be related to past basketball teams that played in, like, the Olympics, the Dream Team. This is one loaded USA team, right?
No, it really is. And I think if there's one deficiency or potential deficiency based on a lot of it, how the World Baseball Classic rules are, they've got pitch count limits, which is obviously a good thing because you're trying to protect the arms,
Sure.
especially guys, and the majority of the players are major league guys. So it's still, in essence, part of their spring training. But as far as the lineup, as far as the offensive firepower, there's no question that this is a dream team assembled by the USA team. And they got upset the other night, but last night they came back with a vengeance, and I think won 12-2 or something to that nature, and run ruled Team Canada, who had won their previous game. So I think they've got to win one more game to advance, and I think they're going to. And last night was just what you would expect a star-studded lineup to do. From the first inning to the fifth inning, it was just one after another. And I would not want to be a pitcher facing these guys.
All right, so let's start with, what is the World Baseball Classic? How did it begin? And who are these monsters in the lineup?
Well, I think it's for the fans, it's similar to the kind of the World Cup. It's not the Olympics, but it's a huge event. I think Major League Baseball has done a great job, along with the national committees, the world, throughout the world, and you've got just about every country, represented here. I mean, you got the likes of Mookie Betts, Mike Trout, Nolan Arenado, Trey Turner. I mean, it's just unbelievable to watch these guys, and he's got a sprinkling of good, young major leaguers like Bobby Witt Jr. And so it's a fun team to watch. I talked to Mookie the other day. They've all bought into this team concept. It's fun to watch them because they're playing almost like they're back in high school and college, where there's just a lot of team camaraderie, a lot of energy on the bench, and everyone's pulling for each other. And last night they were at Chase Field in Arizona, and it was a jam-packed crowd.
What I find fascinating about this is when you put USA on, right? That just becomes special for any team, I think. And what better way than to play real games like this in real competition? This is a great way for spring training, I think.
No, it really is. And I was fortunate enough to play on the USA team in 1984, and we went to Cuba and played in front of 80,000 fans. Fidel Castro was there, and I can't explain the energy and the nervousness that you feel when you're playing. I mean, literally, I played mostly second, but I played third base against Cuba, and we're playing against these guys are 25 to 35. That was their national team back in the day, and we were college players. But when Fidel Castro walked into that building, you could literally feel the building shake, and you couldn't hear yourself talk because of how loud it was. But
did you ever lose the butterflies, or were they there the whole time?
No, you lose them. You lose them probably after the first couple of innings. I think after the first inning in the field, and then after my first at bat, you kind of get back in that zone, and you're on the field. And yeah, it's loud, but the good part about it was a constant loud. It wasn't like, and they literally beat the brakes off of us. We ended up winning the bronze medal, but we had a guy pitching for us, Roger. Roger was from North Carolina. I played with him. He's now an assistant head coach and pitching coach at Louisville. We talk about those days all the time, but he was throwing 95 miles an hour, which was not good facing the Cubans swinging aluminum bats. They just hit it farther.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah,
but anyway, it was a great experience. And these guys, I think, are having that, they have that energy, and it's fun to watch, consummate Major League All-Stars playing with that kind of energy and pulling for each other.
I know I promote this every week, but next week we will talk high school rising stars. Thank you, Tim. I appreciate it. Have a great weekend.
All right. You too. Thanks, Wolo.
That is our guy at baseball. That is Tim Doolin. He is brought to you by Southern Security. That's your home team credit union. We're proud to have them on our team for almost 70 years now. Southern Security has been serving the Mid-South community with unbeatable rates, low fees, great service, and always the newest technology. If you're a business owner, maybe you need an auto loan, need better benefits with your credit card. At Southern Security, they handle all your business banking needs. They will give you the lowest competitive rates on auto loans. They give you the lowest rates and better benefits on your credit card and a whole lot more. They got a family waiting for you to join it. And all you got to do is call 901-452-7900. Talk to one of the team members, or you can go to the website at southernsecurity.org. Your home team credit union. The good folks. 70 years worth at Southern Security. That'll do it for us. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Usual suspects, including Brett Norsworthy. Have a great day, everybody.
Hey, friends, it's Bill Russell at Russell